Action. Okay. So, Thoughts of a Born Free, episode 1. It's a podcast, just thoughts, born frees. For those of you who don't know, we're in South Africa. Born free, somebody born after 1994, which is our freedom times. And with me here, I have my co-host, first co-host of the podcast, Nelly.
Yay me! Hi everybody. I'm Neli and I'm the first co-host. How amazing. Thank you for having me.
Now we have to get the two Yaponomics degrees working and activated.
I agree.
So Nelly sparked up the contrast and the interest again for the podcast because professional Yapa, professional Yapa, we have to combine these things.
And together we go together real good.
Real
Like
good,
the
real good.
chemistry was on fire. Well, every time we have a conversation, it's always like, why aren't we doing
Monetizing this,
this?
yeah.
Yeah.
So as we'll start here, one topic I was thinking about. We spoke about it a little bit before, and like it was an idea of like, what is teaching like today?
Mm-hmm.
What got you into teaching? And how does all of those little elements that make up Nelly go into the classroom?
Well, I would say it was a very random decision. I was like, well, don't know what to do. Everybody's been doing this. Maybe I'll give it a go. And I did. And well, it's been an interesting journey to say the very least, but it's been fun as well. I feel like I have taken a very non-traditional kind of approach to it. So instead of just teaching as a job, I've kind of turned it into a career.
Okay.
Um, and I've managed to do that in a way where I feel like long ago when our parents, peers, they were teaching, they would go into a space and, they would stay there. Like you start today, you are retiring 25 years later. I was like, not in this house. Mm-mm. So I've done a bit of traveling and teaching, which has been very interesting. Children, parents, schools, curricula, it's different all over the world. And I feel like I've come back and I've just kind of used what I've learned in my teaching, and it's enabled me to be in very amazing teaching spaces.
That's great to see. So you've then taken a different route. You're not just teaching as a means to an end. You've taken it,
Hmm.
you know what? It was a random decision, but we'll make a career out of this.
Yeah.
Because what else are we going to do, right?
Because,
Life is long.
and I'm just a girl, guys. A girl that likes things. Yeah.
Yeah, no. But that I'm just a girl phrase really took over. I think it was like 2022, 2023. No, listen, you couldn't get away from I'm just a girl.
No, period. Because Gunini see, but we are just girls now, guys. We need to
Okay,
put
you
the
done.
tools
You
down
done. You done.
and be in our girl era.
No, but I respect that. I think the being in the girl era, it's a different type of tune
Yeah.
because we do have that African. Your mother's strong, your father's strong, so on and so forth. So then you grow up strong, and we always tell the girls, no, you must be strong as well, so on and so forth. But now you guys get to just be girls.
And I mean, it's not to say that we don't hold ourselves accountable or, you know, kind of avoid our adult responsibilities, but there's a different way of doing it while we are resting in our femininity. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Femininity, masculine. Oh, we're clocking it. We're clocking
We're clocking it.
it.
Oh, and apparently these days we need to stop clocking and we need to start sleeping it. But
Yo,
talk to the girls with
hey.
nails.
Yeah, no. Tipping it versus clocking it, you know, always evolving. The slang was evolving.
Always
Do you ever
evolving.
feel like, from your side, and I'm going to just step back into the teaching realm, that you are better suited in teaching because you know the lingo? You're still on track with, okay, cool, clocking it. Because I can only imagine when I was in school, we were like, there's no ways this person understands when we start speaking in our lingos and so on and so forth. But now you're able to communicate with the students. You're able to say clocking it. You're able to understand what it is that they're saying and how to interact with them.
Yes, I feel like the generational gaps aren't as huge as they were between our teachers back then. So there is a sense of relatability between teachers and children. We now even have teachers using TikTok as a platform for students to learn. You know, so it's like the lingo is there. We're in class bantering it off, but
Okay.
sometimes we've got to be strict. Know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's the rules. It's the rules.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I can only imagine with the that duality of being strict, but also being a person that they can talk to and being a person that they can listen to.
yeah,
It must be a delicate balancing act at times.
yeah.
And I'm sure there's times you get it super right and times where it slips off the hill. But as experience, as time goes on, I'm sure you then figure out other tactics on how to make it work.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And I will say because I work with younger children, it's always easy to get the discipline thing right because also they are still adults are their holy grail. So
Okay.
things aren't, it's not tricky with the puberty and attitudes and you know what I mean? So I think with the younger ones it's an easy thing. You're just firm once and you keep it consistent, and then yeah, you hardly ever have to shout.
Okay. I can't imagine you shouting. I cannot
You know
imagine a
what?
serious version of Nelly.
Sometimes a girl's gotta do what a girl's gotta do.
Hey.
I won't even lie. Like I'm a very strict, in a fun kind of way teacher. And I say that because we're doing what we're doing, and then when it's time to have fun, we have fun. I mean, I'm a yapaholic. I like to talk. I like to laugh. So yeah, my children know we do our things, and then after that,
Then it's free time, it's fun time.
it's free time. It's fun time.
Yeah, no, I would have loved to have more teachers like Nelly in my corner.
Same.
But, it gets better for each generation.
Yeah.
Some things, not so much. But I think when you're talking about generational gap, I wonder if you have the same idea that I have, where
Mm,
there is this lingering generational gap of us born frees that
yeah.
grew up in a different form of society than our parents did.
Yeah.
And there's still our media heads, our talking heads, and so on and so forth have still maintained a certain age gap and certain age above us, where the thoughts of the born free don't really go through as as
Yeah.
as
They
as
don't get
loud.
to make their way to the right audience. People like us that are
Yeah,
just looking out for little young thoughts to get the mind juices flowing.
you
I
know.
agree.
I think for me, one of the things that I've seen generationally, it's so crazy because I've not gotten the time to like sit down with somebody that was born while older than me. That
Hmm.
is cool enough for just have like a casual conversation of like, no, but how that was crazy when you guys just started shopping with
No,
white people, right?
literally.
Like that was crazy when like all of this stuff just there was a day and then it was like, okay, cool, you can go to everywhere you want to go now.
Yeah, it's over now.
It's
Sorry.
over. It's over.
We apologize.
Yeah.
Sister, sorry. Yeah. That's crazy. Can you imagine how for the people that they were still kind of young, but they were also growing up and starting to make their way around the world. Can you imagine how one day it's this and the next it's not? Like, do you think they were like a little bit like,
You know what my theory would be? I feel like it depends on what your experiences were
yeah,
before. So
yeah,
if you grew up and you just were minding your own business where you were allocated ekasi and then all of a sudden you have the mobility, you
yeah,
maybe don't have too much negative interactions with people, so on and so forth.
yeah,
But
true,
if you have a whole bunch of clashes before, you're like, nah, I've seen enough, boss. I know where my section is, but we'll still step into the rooms.
yeah.
So then my question to you is, do you feel like as a teacher, I'm sure that you teach with a bunch of people that are older than you, some people that might be a bit younger than you, but I'm sure there's much fewer of the younger side.
Yeah.
When you're in that space, do you see the transformation now, like in your students, or is it still kind of lagging behind in terms of the numbers of how your students look?
You know what? I think it depends on where you're at.
Yeah.
But I feel like the sectionality and I don't want to say the big S word, you know what I mean? But that still exists in a different kind of way. There's a difference between suburban kids gussy children. They're in the same school, but they are feeling different pressures.
Okay.
Things that aren't really seen, but the children feel them. And having grown up in spaces where I was, we were free, born free, and we weren't thinking of these things, but sometimes things would happen and you'd be like, I know I'm different,
Yeah.
I know I'm different. And, back then, you had nobody to ask these questions to, like, but you just felt something and you're like, that feels a little bit off, but then you just brush it off and you
Yeah.
kind of move on. But the children we have now, they are the type to, they are very well articulated, if I must say so, in my opinion. So sometimes things happen and they'll be like, what, Mr. Bear, that was kind of weird. And I'd be like, let's talk about it, let's engage with things in a way that is, it's in a safe environment. First of all, it's safe for the children. You're there to facilitate the conversation. And sometimes parents really appreciate these conversations when they
Okay.
happen with teachers, because they still have the feelings from before, so they don't know how to approach them. So
Okay.
yeah, the issues are still there, but maybe not as prevalent as before, but they obviously present themselves in different ways.
In different ways. That makes sense.
Mm.
Because I'll say, like, even in my schooling experience, there's still those, mm, I'd call them sharp edges
Yeah,
around certain
like
corners.
little nags.
Little nags, just
Yeah,
like they'll just
yeah,
that was not the word to use, bro.
yeah,
That was not the word to use. You
yeah,
don't call them blacks. Jeez,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
God,
yeah, 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 yeah.
black people. God, the people.
Yeah,
You
we're
know,
all just
it's the little all
people.
those
Yeah,
people.
we
Yeah,
don't need to black, white, because we don't go and say, okay, yeah, whitey, good
yeah.
land. You know what I mean? So yeah, there are still those little things. And when we do things like history, for example, there are topics like slavery and things, and then you have children are very, especially the young ones, they will take what they learn in class
Mhm.
and have conversations about it on the playground and things. So you will have a history lesson about slavery and you will have a child go and use it in the wrong context.
Okay.
That's kind of
Oh,
how it happens. And usually it's with grown-ups that are taking offense. So student teachers, or other young kind of people that are black and feel like these things are still sensitive to them. Then you're like, hey, listen, my boy, we don't really speak like that when we're speaking about things like this. It's okay to
okay.
say certain things, but there's a way to say it.
So what you're speaking about there, I feel like you teachers kind of have this tricky role as well of stepping into morality with their
Mm-hmm.
students because you spend a lot of time with them.
Yeah.
So now, do you ever have that like internal pressure of like, I could be dropping the wrong morality here?
There always is that pressure, but also remember when you're working in an environment, you kind of, it's either a religious school.
Mm-hmm.
Those are easy kind of places to be in. If it's a religious school, these are the topics to stay away from.
Okay.
If a parent specifically wants you to have a conversation with their child, it's something they will sometimes bring up.
Mm-hmm.
In schools where it's not a religious school. All children, religious, non-religious, are celebrated. Things like that can get a
Pop
bit
up.
tricky, and it's always tricky. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Children say things, and you're like, okay, yeah, and in their life,
Perfectly
nothing wrong
normal.
with that.
Yeah.
And other children will come and be like, Miss Juby, this child said this and this, and you're like, we'll have a conversation about it later. Now you gotta go ask the parents, listen, your child said this, and another child is asking, like, how do I address it? Do I address it? Most of the times, the parents will be like, no, like, do it, because parents are also young these days.
Yeah.
So, like, do your thing, girl.
Okay.
Some parents will be like, no, we'll have the conversation at home, and you're also like, cool, respect your decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they kind of have a trust in you at times, and sometimes maybe they feel like this is more a private thing that we want to sort out at home.
Yeah.
And either way, you respect those decisions.
Yeah.
Do you ever find yourself in a situation where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm teaching the old kids now. They're giving me hassles. Can you guys all be expelled at one time? Is that
I mean, you do have those thoughts, but
allowed?
unfortunately,
You can't control those
yeah,
things.
we can't, and you know what, things will come up. It's just the way it is, and in those spaces, you're the trusted grown up, so
Mm.
you know, you you just have to make. Oh God, problem here, and
Okay.
you're the one in charge, so you have to take charge.
Sure. I've never really thought about decision fatigue because you as teachers do have that teacher, can I go to the bathroom? Teacher, Johnny's poking me. Teacher. No, Tepo said that the moon is flat and it's not real. And now you have to spend so much time both dedicating explanations, making
Mm-hmm.
the decisions, and then being accountable to yourself and to your students.
Yep, making sure everybody is going home in one piece.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that happens
They
too
do
because
break easy.
they break easy and they try to break each other, and sometimes they accidentally break themselves rocking on the chair.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot tell you the amount of time teachers told us, stop rocking on the chairs.
Yeah.
And it's
Or
the most fun thing to do.
yeah,
And
and
they'll
you
be like,
just want to do it, right?
because you know what it is, nah?
Yeah.
If you don't want a student to rock on the chair, don't design this with that like little path. With that thing for your feet,
Oh,
don't.
it's very
That's
it's very comfy. I agree, but
it's a
be
very big
guided
risk.
in the classroom.
Yeah, yeah,
And
no.
you know what you boys were doing when you guys were little? The play fighting. And then
Hmm.
you tell them, guys, please stop it. It's gonna end in tears. No, Mr. No, Mr. It's not. And can I tell you something?
It ends in tears.
Almost 100% of the time, it ends in tears. Yeah.
But that's an interesting thing. Like I've seen a couple of other videos, some articles online about like how boys don't have the same socialization as girls for the most part when they go to school, and then certain things that you maybe innately do as a boy
Mm-hmm.
growing up, then you kind of have to not do once you're in school. So you see that example of that play fighting.
Yeah.
It will end in tears. True,
True.
but it's kind of par for the course. But then if you then are told to never have those type of experience, never to be rowdy, so on and so forth,
Mm-hmm.
there's that conversation of you then have this split somewhere along the line where you're used to being this. You have some innate, this active energy. You just want to be around, kicking each other, doing whatever you do as
Yeah.
guys. But then you're rewarded if you just sit quietly and do your work and so on and so forth. So do you ever find that those, as you being a travel teacher, there's those other schools internationally where
Yeah.
the kids have slides inside of the classroom and they do work sometimes, and other times they go outside to play and this and that. And how do you see that as a learning environment versus our more old school, stringent?
You know what? There are environments for every kind of child.
Hmm.
You as the parent, it's up to you to do your research now.
Okay.
But I will say, to answer your question, the world is evolving, and so are the children, so are us as adults, as people. And there are schools who welcome growth.
Hmm.
They understand that we have to evolve as the world evolves.
Yeah.
And we're welcoming children that are different to the children that were welcomed here years and years ago. And then there are schools that want to keep their traditions
Hmm.
just as they are.
Okay.
So even us as teachers, we kind of look for the spaces where we also, if you, for example, prefer, like, we call it, oh, it's escaping my mind now. but just a school that welcomes growth and it's evolved. Things are There's technology. There's you don't have to go and write on the board all the time,
Yeah.
blackboard. Yeah, the children get bored and stuff. You as a teacher also, you do your research, and you see the schools before you also step into them to see if
Okay.
they're what you want to be teaching in. And parents do the same, but parents also need to make the effort to understand the schools that they're taking their children to, which I don't
Mm.
think always happens.
I hear that. I think that that role of the parents having the true research of to where you take your child to.
Yeah,
I'm thinking now, I'm not a parent, but if I ever was to be in the near future or far future,
yeah,
I don't even know where I would start doing that research. Like, you just go to the school, you see
yeah.
what it looks like, and you're like,
And you're in.
the bathroom, the toilets flushed, they're
Yeah,
clean,
yeah,
the classrooms are nice. How many
yeah.
kids in a class? 25. How many desks? You have 30. I'm like, ah, good. There's even a spare five.
Lit,
Should
like,
somebody else come in?
she's good,
Everybody's got a
right?
seat. How many seats again? 30. Ah, perfect. 30 for Ah, you guys are doing a good job. And
Yeah,
then you call it from there, you know.
yeah.
So how possible is it for a parent to really know what goes on in a school in terms of their innovations and their traditions and so on and so forth? Because we read pamphlets, we read
Yeah,
what
and
they tell
everybody
us.
everybody looks good on paper, which
Yes.
is it's true. What I've started seeing parents doing, which I think is an amazing idea, and schools welcome this, is send your child. They're the one that's going to be going to
Hmm.
that school. So they do like it depends. Usually we don't want it to be too long because obviously, us as the previous teachers, let's see, we're missing out on work.
Yeah.
But parents are sending their child to spend time at the school before they're in the school,
Okay.
but not on an open day where everything is curated to
Yeah.
obviously look amazing and
Hmm.
just on a random Wednesday, like
Okay.
you organize with the school and your child goes and they spend a day at the school. There's no real structure. Your child will join whatever class they join, and you take it from there. You Your child goes, they come back, you ask them about their day. How was it? What did you do? Did you make friends? How were the interactions? Just normal
Yeah.
questions. And you kind of also see how your child answers. But then obviously in the process of planning to get your child there, how was it with the teachers there? They don't know you. You're
Hmm.
not a parent who takes their child to their school. You just it's little things where when you were
Mm.
taking your child to school that day, how was the environment? You were seeing other parents arrive with their children. How are the interactions? Those are the real things that you look for.
Okay.
With academically, it's hard to know as a parent, but I think if your child is coming home, you do homework with them. Also, take a look. Like, is this where grade three child should be? Is my child coping in a way that feels like a grade three child would be coping, or
Okay.
is my child overwhelmed? Is my child Do they find homework boring? It's those things. All of those things are indicators of other
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 problems. So
problems
I found
or
homework boring. I
yeah,
still find it boring, but
yeah,
I do it because I'm a dedicated student to the game and
yeah.
to any
Period.
field that I'm in. But man, on the topic of homework, like you've
Yeah,
laid out some really good points and an idea that I'd never thought about of like you send your child to the school
yeah,
on a day that's not an open day and
yeah,
they come back and tell you how it is. Because I can tell you the school I went to for primary school, I went there the first day. I went on the open day. It was nice. It was weird. I didn't know what I was doing there. Nobody
yeah.
gave me a good brief as to like what I'm doing there. I had to show up in this place. So many other kids there. I didn't like them. I don't like a lot of people in a crowd. I don't know. There's something about me as a young person when I was growing up is that
Yeah.
whenever I was in a space with too many unknown people,
It made you
I'm
feel,
just like, get me out
whoa,
of
let's
here.
call it a day.
Get me out of here.
Let's
It's
go
too
home.
much noise. It's too much movement. Why are you running so much? Why are you running so much? We don't do this at Granny's house. We
Yeah.
walk
Yeah,
wherever we
at
go.
Granny's house it's chill.
You
And it's
walk,
quiet
it's
all day
quiet.
long.
She doesn't want pitsy pits. You gotta walk in and out the house properly. You
Yeah.
don't get dirty.
Mm.
You don't give them a work.
Yeah.
So I won't say I grew up in a militant household, but I grew up in a household where rules were rules,
Yeah.
and I don't like being upset. and I don't like people upsetting. So I just follow the rules, and it works out pretty well. So my first day of grade one, teacher comes, cool, we go, we line up. I don't know many other people here, but a couple of people from nursery school I know.
Yeah.
And then I go to my class, and then fortunately, one of my good friends is sitting behind me. So I'm like, okay, cool. I've got a
Safe.
familiar face here. Shut. And then we get like cupcakes and everything. But I was like, nah, the vibe of this lady, I don't like her, man.
You're
This
like,
one isn't for me.
contra off.
Something's off. Something's off here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. And listen, I'm not saying names. I'm not saying nothing. But
Yeah.
listen, it was not a smooth ride, grade one. And then apparently they
Ish.
wanted to hold me back, and
Ish.
I was like, I didn't know about this. I found out this much later in my life.
Yeah.
And my mom, credit to her, she has a very simple phrase like, listen, I've got money for 12 years of school, boss.
Yeah.
If you're failing, it's on you, dog. You're going to have to figure out that extra year
Yeah.
that you repeated. I got money for 12 years of school, dude.
And that's it.
And I'm like, we gotta lock in. We
Yeah.
gotta lock in.
Yeah.
So then when they were like, nah, you might need to do grade one again, he's reading and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And then my mom was like, did he pass? I was like, yeah, it's a but we think it's on. Send him to grade two.
Yeah. He'll figure out the rest next year.
He'll sort it. He'll
Oh,
sort it. He's my son. He'll put it together. Did he
don't
pass?
worry about him.
Show me his marks and show me the rest of the class marks. And he's like, he's about average, man. Send this guy through. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then same thing happened again in grade two. And then it was like, oh, you're gonna go back, you're gonna die.
Yeah, the
like,
whole.
saying, hey, did he
Just-
pass?
Just let him go.
Did he pass?
Yeah.
Send him
Cool.
and then grade three. Boop. And you know what my theory is?
Yeah.
I had a Neli do with like teaching grade three.
Well, period, King, because
And then-
period.
I wouldn't say straight A students, but A's and B's.
Yeah.
I'm no longer C's and D's because I'm interested. The teacher's nice to me. I get
Yeah.
along with
You're
them.
feeling stimulated.
I feel
in the
stimulated.
classroom. You want to do what is happening. Yeah.
You know, it's to the point where there's another friend of mine that I met in grade one, still
Yeah.
friends with him to this day, and we went to the same grade two class together. And I asked him, like, dude, what do you do to get the teachers to like you so much? Because this guy was not about teachers,
Oh, like Mr. Popular.
but only about the teachers, Mr. Nerd, right? So
Mhm.
he was just like, I just do my work and I make sure they don't shout at me about anything. And I'm
Yeah.
like, clock it. Grade three, made sure that I don't get shouted at about anything.
Yeah.
And the results were there. Just did the work, didn't get shouted at, class captain, da.
That's the way
It's
to
all
go.
working out. But then I really feel the impact of a teacher is very high. And the gelling with your students. It makes such a difference because I looked like a student that was not able to cope.
Yeah.
But I was just a student that was not stimulated.
Yeah, you
and
were
then the moment that
bored.
clicks in, I'm just off to the races.
And it's a normal thing. Like, even if you look at children today, almost, okay, let me not say all, before, let me not say all, but most children, they've got a device at home, they game, they just are always doing something on a digital device. And then you want to go and stand there in the front and
Talk.
parrot from the textbook. All right, question one. Copy it down. Obviously, you're gonna get the Nellies. They like,
What's happening?
you know. So that's what I mean. Like, it's important to move with the times. Like, you need to kind of have a little bit of what is going on in their real lives in the
Okay.
classroom as well, because the classroom is supposed to be a reflection of the reality that surrounds us. And I think that's where a lot of teachers lose the connection with their students. They're wanting so badly to, I've done this for 20 years. This is how it was done. This is how I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? Instead of being like, well, 20 years ago, the children were different. So maybe it's worth trying something different.
I think that evolution is definitely a good idea.
Yeah.
Another thing that I want to touch on as we branch onto your overseas trips, right? The world's trotting Nelly, right? In other countries, you see about how much they appreciate teachers, how highly they're rated, how highly they're paid, and then the stringent process to become a teacher and to maintain your teacher license or degree or whatever it is that it is called abroad and in all the different spaces.
Yeah.
Do you feel like we need to relook at how much we value our educators to make it a highly sought after profession, because you can find, for example, I'm a high performing individual. I can go into almost any field, but at university, even though I might like the concept of teaching, I just know I'll be shorting myself of a certain standard of living,
Yep.
because I'm like, I could be a pilot, I could be an engineer, I could be a doctor, I could be a teacher. I really like teaching, but I
But
don't like what I'm going to be paid and what I'm going to deal with for what I'm going to
yeah,
be paid. I'm going to stick to these three.
yeah,
So now, instead of having your sharpest, brightest minds that really want to do this, you have those people going to being doctors and engineers. Not to say that those are wrong,
yeah.
but
No, I understand where you're going with this. You know what? I think it's just something that's happening in our country in general.
mm-hmm.
Um, yes, I believe teachers should be more valued. Um, because at the end of the day, we are spending a lot of time with your child in the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there are spaces where teachers are at their capacity, and they're still trying to do the best they can, and sometimes it feels like there's not enough outside support, but there's a lot of criticism coming in about teachers this, teachers that, teachers this, teachers that,
Yeah.
and the people that are giving us that aren't the same people that are in those spaces with us.
Okay.
And yeah, I just feel like it's a very undervalued profession in South Africa. It's You go overseas and you see the differences. Like, you see how a teacher is treated as a professional. You can still lead a life, and have your own house, a single income household as a
True.
teacher. Mm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to find a love lives here. You know what I mean?
You can stand it on your own.
Yeah. So you know what? It's just different. I think all professions are. We have the most brilliant minds, teaching, engineers, pilots. Everyone is just kind of like, well, I've tried to work at home. Are there jobs?
Mm.
Am I getting paid my worth? So maybe I'll just go try elsewhere. And I feel like that's basically what happens. There are a lot of South African teachers that are everywhere but South Africa.
Africa. Okay.
And they are valued there. They feel wanted, and they feel chosen, which it's good. But yeah, we would appreciate some of those brilliant minds coming back and sharing with the children, obviously, that are South African.
I definitely agree with that. I think there's a conversation to say, and it's an idea that I had a while ago. And a friend of mine, same friend from grade one, the smarty guy,
Yeah,
spoke about this idea of like really putting South Africa first, even if you go abroad.
yeah,
In the concept of like, in your later years, should you be fortunate enough to have made it and so on and so forth, to come back home and see how much of a difference you can make.
true.
Like, I think patriotism exists in part in our country, but I
Mm-hmm.
feel like in our most successful people, we don't really have a finished picture of what do you as a patriot do for your country that doesn't benefit you. You
Yeah,
know, if you are well off, do you work with your net group of friends to do buildings in Santon? Okay.
mm-hmm.
You guys have that type of network that you can now build things, you build apartment blocks, so on and so forth,
Yeah,
big construction firms, so on and so forth. Okay, that's brilliant. And you made it out of wherever in Eastern Cape, in a small village, and you got to this level.
yeah,
What are you able to do in terms of your knowledge, your business acumen, to just say, okay, cool, this is what I have. I want to set up a scholarship fund. Just one student.
yeah,
Guys, we're all pitching together, because
yeah,
one of us can't take this person to school. It's not our son, right? We might not have that level of commitment. But
yeah,
if we all put together 5K into this fund, and then we'll have enough money to set up our own small little scholarship,
yeah.
that little scholarship could make that difference in that child's life. And then
And
a repeat
and
factor.
you know what? I feel like the scholarships that are huge and big now that exist, I feel like that's maybe how they started. But to kind of dig a little bit deeper into that, do you think that maybe the hearts are in the right places of these people that leave the country and they become these huge successes, but they feel like when they come back, maybe what they are going to want to put back into our country is obviously then going to get corrupted.
I think there definitely is that fear. And I
Yeah.
think part of that fear comes from the fact that in all of our dealings, we don't have full trust and commitment with our governments in certain
Yeah.
aspects and certain transparencies. A
Yeah.
lot of those processes aren't transparent. But you can have your own small individual processes that are
Yeah.
transparent.
Yeah.
You can, amongst the six of you guys, because I am in the space where I see people that have good wealth
Yeah.
and are associated with other people that have good wealth. Because you network, you meet people that are in the same fields as you, same tax brackets, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And what do you guys do as a set? Maybe you pull money together and you cover funeral expenses for certain people, or you pull money together and then you assist in like stockfell. But we're talking large sums. Some people
Yeah.
put in,
Yeah.
it's a group of 10 guys and they put 10,000 every week. If you have the ability to put that 10,000 aside every week, what if you were to put 1,000 rand aside every week that just goes into a pot, and then at the
Yeah.
end of the year you cover some kid's school fees that has performed very well, somebody that has a degree waiting at university but can't afford to pay off the fees to then have the degree
Yeah.
qualified.
Yeah. Do you think it has something to do with, you know, how sometimes it feels like everything that happened to our country, apartheid ended and then it
Mm,
was over?
yeah,
Do you think maybe that those things are things that aren't happening because there are some lingering psychological effects that
exists.
apartheid has had on us that we
Uh-huh.
we may consciously or subconsciously just kind of live out? Do you think that could be the reason? Because I understand your point, and there are wealthy black people, but we don't see the return. It's almost like, yeah, okay, cool, you're wealthy, then what?
You know, I hesitate to say this, but I don't think it's black people alone that are supposed to save South African citizens. And I don't believe that we should, as only black people, save black people as well. I really say this in the sense, right?
Yeah,
I believe there's some person that is of whatever race
yeah,
that is coining it overseas
yeah.
and can come back and help in a community that's not even theirs,
Hmm.
right? And I think when you talk about those psychological effects, I think they are so massive. And one of the things I've thought about quite a bit is we have a really funny disparity when we talk about time.
Hmm.
Like apartheid being over for 31 years now
Yeah,
is a long time for a singular life. But
but
we can still talk to people that were alive in apartheid. So how
yeah,
long is it really? Do you get what I'm saying? It's that
yeah.
duality of like you've had 30 years, and then I'm like, no, that's
Yeah,
perfectly
we're
fine.
still a young democracy.
Look at what America looked like 30 years after the Civil War. Look at what so many countries look like just fresh out of getting their democracy. Now, there is also this other part that I'm not as well researched on this, but I just
Yeah,
have this theory where we don't appreciate the amount of time it takes to do things.
true.
And on the big enough time horizon, that person that comes back won't make a difference today or in their lifetime. And the next person that comes back won't make a difference in their lifetime. But the concept is the compounding effect that they
Of
can have.
and also just getting started.
Exactly.
And okay, to piggyback off you, there are big groups
Mhm.
that hold a lot of our wealth,
Yeah.
right? And when you speak of the compounding effect, these groups have been amassing their wealth,
Yeah.
right? So we also, like you say, 31 years. I mean, maybe let us live a little,
Yeah.
actually. Like, just grab a jet. Go to Dubai. We enjoy. I mean, we like made up like 20 years, 30 years ago.
Yeah,
For some people that grew up within those things happening to them, maybe it's not a priority right now.
yeah.
But then you've got us, we're next in line. So,
What are we gonna do about it?
yeah,
There's those questions where you ask yourself, and then you ask the other, and then you realize that you have an actionable difference too.
yeah,
You're a teacher, for example, and there's that question to say, do you do extra tutoring for children that are underprivileged that can't afford tutoring?
yeah,
Do you do like, okay, I can't afford to teach you because it costs me too much, but can you set up five of your friends
mm-hmm.
and then you guys meet me here
Yeah,
and then I'm able to tutor you guys? Let's say from my side, whatever I'm good at, do I apply and offer those skills to underprivileged children that need that?
yeah,
Me being somebody that has certain skills. So it's that type of thing of, do we collectively use our human capital? That's another conversation that I feel like we've not gotten to exercise. I was watching a video, something I think around Gini coefficient, but I'm not exactly sure of the economic indicator, where they're talking about the human capital a country has
yeah,
and their utilization of it. So if you have 100 people and only 20 of those people are utilized in doing anything
yeah,
that drives anything at all,
yeah,
the 80 people then net effect don't contribute enough to move the needle.
yeah,
So
true.
it's that reverse thinking, like, what can we do with the 80 people? That doesn't have to be particularly a job, but we have 80 people that are able-bodied here.
Yeah, we've got
What
80
do we
minds.
do? What
Mm,
can that create? So I feel like those are some of those aspects that post-apartheid are still lingering in our psychologies, because we have the collective thinking that we thought we had.
yeah,
We have this assumption that we as black people are supposed to do this together. We as
yeah,
Indian people are supposed to go do this together. We as such and such group are supposed to come back and lift each other up.
mm-hmm.
But then it's that conversation that I have in terms of, we as the people that reside and are from this country should collectively try to do something.
True.
Because it's in those divisions that we stop realizing that we're all at the end of the day South African. One of my favorite things that, and there's a friend of mine that I was speaking to, she's colored or mixed, depending on whatever YouTube's gonna allow me to
Yeah.
post there. But she's of the traditional, your parents have been mixed for a long time,
Yeah.
and you're mixed, and you grew up in that class of race in South Africa.
Yeah.
And then she went abroad to America, and then she is not mixed anymore. She's
Yeah,
just
she's black.
African American, just African black.
Yeah.
However you want to classify it, but she no longer has the title she used
She
to have here.
had, yeah.
And then that interesting change for me, I was like asking, I'm like, how does that feel to you? And then if you were to take it even then a step further, it's like, okay, so this was artificially created.
Yeah.
So then you take it, then the next step, I'm like, okay, cool. Then wouldn't all of them been artificially created?
Yeah.
Same thing with even the country South Africa, sharp. But
Yeah.
they we're getting too much into like dissection of
Yeah,
Africa and so on and
let's
so forth.
say
But let's just, we're not gonna now change Zam. We're not gonna have what's the new name that they were gonna use for the
yeah,
Republic of South Africa?
Azania,
Azania.
Azania,
I'm
guys.
not going too far into those, but I'm just saying, if we're gonna keep it on the simple geopolitical, okay, South Africa is still South Africa.
Yeah.
The people that reside in
In
South
South
Africa
Africa.
are South Africans.
Yeah.
And it's that mix of all of us that should create that next
And
future
have the
and have the
responsibility of
responsibility of it.
making the change.
So it's not just left to black people to save black people, or white people to save white people, or Indian people to save Indian people. It's, if you are a person, you should save that next person. But I think the psychological differences that exist is still us seeing,
They are still
not South
so
African.
ingrained in us.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how when things aren't so political and we are in spaces where we're all having fun, then race doesn't seem to be a thing to exist. You know, um, it's just it's an interesting thing that happens because there are people who will stand together when political things are happening and
Mm.
it's rife out, but most of the time it's I listen. I don't have an opinion. I'm just a
Standard,
bystander,
yeah.
you know. So sometimes it does feel like the majority. kind of need to also pull themselves up instead of always wanting to be saved or to be, yeah, it happened to us. It wasn't great, but maybe a part of moving past that is also uplifting ourselves and, putting ourselves at the forefront of the big changes that we do want to see.
I hear that point. I hear that point. It's kind of like that personal responsibility point of like
Yeah,
I can't control everything that happens in my life, but I'm responsible for how I react to whatever's happened in my life.
yeah,
And I don't want it to be something that I'm not taking the words out of your mouth or saying your opinion, but I do think that you're not taking it in the sense of like, okay, it doesn't matter. No, it does
it
matter.
does
It's
matter.
very
Yeah,
heavy. But what do we do now?
yeah,
You know, and for everybody to think about it as what do I do now,
yeah,
today? You know, there's a small idea that I have that if anybody ever really wants to take it out, I'd be happy for it. And I'm thinking I have to figure out how it started, but we have human capital of people. We
yeah. We
have
literally
then
do. That's the one thing we can't say we don't
we
have.
can't say we don't have. We have
Yeah, we have
people,
it. I
and
mean,
then we have space and land that exists, right?
mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, just even in the logistics of my house. My house has X amount of plants and trees and flowers and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
All of those could be maybe some form of crop. Maybe not. We're not talking about we're building
yeah. I
fields here.
mean,
We're
I
not
mean,
farming
we have to
thousands of
start
chickens.
somewhere. We have to start
But
somewhere.
just wherever you have a row of flowers,
Yeah,
just plant a row of tomatoes. And
yeah,
then on the other side, we have a row of trees. Alongside those trees, plant some other crop that can grow in your area. And then we donate those because people that are living in affluent suburbs and so on and so forth, white, black, Indian, green, whatever you want to be, you most likely have a gardener that tends to your garden.
yeah,
So you're not changing the cost of that. You then just maybe have a little bit more watering cost. You buy the seeds, you buy the fertilizer because it's expensive to take care of flowers. It's not free unless you have some magical fertilizer that you can create.
I mean,
Not
there are
magical.
ways around it.
There are ways around it
I do sometimes dabble.
in the
In the,
garden.
when
Hey,
the nails aren't too fresh, it is something that's doable. You just need to kind of just take time to give the plants love, and sometimes it's something that we don't always have.
yeah,
But
time.
it is 100% possible. Like, and these things start as something small, and
Mm.
then, like you said, it 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 compounds into something bigger, better. But I think the thing that we are all kind of, you know, having some difficulties with is just finding the time.
You see, now that is the question for people that are busy and working and so on and so forth. But then the human capital that has the time because they're not busy and working
There we
with
go.
our high unemployment,
There we
it's the
go.
idea of what can then that be recycled as.
Yeah.
Everybody that is staying in an affluent place can then afford to then, okay, cool, gardener, we're gonna move these flowers to a different section. We're gonna put this here.
Yeah.
Then it's then okay, cool. What do we do around collection plans and so on and so forth? And then those same people that are able-bodied have time, have love for the plants, are able to
That's
then
very important.
rework those things, and then now we're slowly but surely eliminating some forms of poverty. Now there's not that worry about what are we gonna eat. It's like
Yeah.
no, the literal volume of places and the amount of food that exists here means that we have a lot. Nobody's not worried too much about spending money on groceries.
Yeah, true.
True, that does have some knock-on effect in terms of some people that work at the grocery store might have
Yeah.
lower sales and grocery owners and so on and so forth. That does exist. But there's a lot more people that are hungry than work at the
Exactly.
checkout line. And the person that works at the checkout line won't go hungry because there's so much more food that we're then producing. I'm not sure how these numbers work. A person that did agricultural science can educate me more, but
Yeah.
those
I think
type
it's
of
a fantastic
initiatives
idea. Yeah.
could then have a difference in our poverty. So you don't have to have as much money to still
Yeah.
be alive. So now that you know that, okay, cool, the basics of having food on the table is taken care of.
Yeah, then you can focus your energy
Something
on
else, then we
something
know, okay, cool.
else.
These guys, you guys are working on the farming and so on and so forth. And then we know, okay, of that 80 that is not being utilized right now, if 50 works on the farming and then 30 rotates around with the 50 with the farming, and then somebody comes up with an idea of like, you know what, ShopRite, we can start
Yeah.
supplying you. and they know
Yeah.
and figure out how they can then work that into ShopRite. Okay, cool. Now we're able to get some money. What do we do with this money? Now we talk about our new problem,
Yeah. Now
financial
we
literacy. Oh my gosh, I'm
expand.
not going to step into it too much, but oof, financial literacy is kicking a lot of us in the teeth,
Yeah,
me
no, even
included,
even the
everybody.
best of us. I think I'm financially responsible when I'm not experiencing Leo season, but I think it's important. Like, and it's not a conversation that's readily available, or you're not gonna find people who are gonna tell you, listen, this is actually how life works
Hmm.
financially. We're all having to figure it out, and yeah, that's when the thinking starts. That's
Yeah.
when the greed, the the minds
Nah.
of our, the people that we are seeing lead and do things. That's when those ideas starts creeping.
Cupid. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think, I'll be honest with you, money is very corrupting.
Mhm.
Money is very fun to have.
Mhm.
Money is freeing,
Mhm.
but discipline is said to be the most freeing thing.
Yeah.
Because if you have the ability to say no, then you have the ability to say yes when you feel like, actually. And you're not a
Exactly.
slave to your
To
desires or
yeah.
to money. Now, I'm just throwing out a random
Okay.
question here, since we started speaking about greed and money and how it corrupts.
Yeah.
Most people have that problem with politicians of like, you guys steal money, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Same with me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying all politicians steal money, but I do see that there's fruitless spending and certain
Yeah, we
problems.
could do things
We all
differently
hear
in
the
some parts.
headlines: X amount of billions spent on trains, they don't fit on the rails. How? X amount of money is sent to build a hospital, there's no beds in that hospital. Why? X amount of money for RDPs, X.
As sick
It's
as Z.
fine. But the question then I like to pose to like people that have this simple staunchness, I'm like, do
Yeah.
you think you could turn down 100 million rand?
You know what? I
And nobody's sending you to
you
jail.
know
Nobody will even
hey,
know.
you're not the cops. Whoa. I'm gonna be so honest, Nim. Um, there are periods in my life where I'm very like, listen, no, I will not, I cannot. And then there are periods in my life, looking at how our country is structured, there's just always a need for money, right?
Mhm.
And I would not say no to that amount of money. However, I am the kind of people that would say no because of what happens to me after. You see, that's where my worry lies. So
Mm.
if I'm gonna be in trouble, trust you can keep your things. Keep your things. There is no sparkly cold drink there by the cells. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
go there. But it's a tough thing. Like I feel like we all want to say, "Oh no, I turn it down. I turn it." Like when it's happening to you, I'm pretty sure, you know. But I mean, maybe I do it once or twice. But I don't need to be running the country for those amounts of years,
But
and
those,
and keep on doing it over and over and over again. Also, in the same breath, where you are one of these people, you look at your country like, "Oh my God, how did we get here?" And I'm like, years of you not saying no to those
to those deals.
opportunities. Yeah.
You know what I'll say with the example that you said, sometimes you feel like you would, sometimes you feel like you wouldn't. I
Yeah.
think, I won't say I give our politicians too much grace, but I feel like I do give them human grace,
Yes,
human
they are
psychology
still
grace,
human at the end of the day.
in this sense that there are bigger powers that have always existed. Some neo-colonialism stuff that people talk about. I'm
People,
not the most
people,
well
people
versed
we
in,
don't even know or see.
or I've
Okay.
heard of,
Yeah.
have very interesting deals. So the
Yes.
way that I've heard some of these deals could be structured, now this is absolute hearsay. It's not to say that they say you take 100 million from the country.
Hmm.
Nah, Nelly, you could never do that. They would find you immediately. But it's more of a, Nelly, we see your teaching program is brilliant. It's beautiful. Um, we see you want to put like tablets in the school so that all students have access to technology and so on and so forth. That's beautiful. I see that you partnered with a local Mobicel to
Yeah.
do the tablets. No, that's great. That's great. but we still want children to want iPhones.
Okay.
So, how about we do this? We'll do a partnership with
Mm-hmm.
Apple.
Okay.
And instead of every child getting a mobile iPad, let's say they get 20% of them get the Apple iPads because it's the same budget.
Yeah.
It's the same budget. We just need it to go to Apple though. Now here's the question. They are not stealing anything from the country
Yeah.
directly. It's the same amount of money that's coming out.
Yeah.
But you nearly now get 50 million rand.
Exactly.
Or you don't take the iPhone partnership, you get the same salary that you're moving with,
Yeah.
and every learner gets a mobile. How do you justify that to the public? Oh, guys, you know what? I don't want to give us children half and half deals.
Yeah.
The iPads are good, and then we'll work on it in future.
Yeah.
And with this partnership, eventually we'll be able to get everybody's. But you know fully well
That's
it's
not
finished
gonna
here.
go. Yeah. But can
But
I tell
nobody's
you,
gonna follow you up in 5 to 10 years time.
nobody is. These are real things that are happening. Like I've seen it with just simple contractors and how things are set up. Where it's like, listen, this is who I was supposed to work through. Um, they go to those people. They get a little signature to say, listen, if you sign my document to say I worked with you guys, I'll give you, give you young yana cuts, young 20K. You don't have to tell anybody. You just sign it off. Done. And then they go and they find their own people, do it for a fraction of the price, and they keep the rest. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't know. Like, I'm a Leo. I like luxury. Like, I want to drive. If I'm gonna buy me an expensive car, trust, I'm trying to drive that car on a proper road. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just like, are their own areas kept well?
I see what you're saying. You're saying to what ends? Because it
Yes.
affects you too eventually.
Yes.
I think.
Like,
Yeah.
are they thinking of the bigger picture? There are ways around these things, and I just feel like we can be a little bit smarter. Like, everyone can have money. Like, you and your buddies, go ahead. Do the things, but and also it will take South Africans off their backs.
Yeah.
Listen, now we've got a road that works. Cool. You don't have to maintain it. It's in good condition for it will hold for a couple of months. So then you save on maintenance costs. I'm just like,
but that's the problem, Nelly. You make the money to the maintenance costs. Everybody got to keep getting the cuts. The thing is, the pie is big.
yeah.
But how many cuts it gets, and how many this, and how many that,
and
that be said, that's what finishes us off as well. I think the greed and corruption and things like that are inherent to people, and the type of people we'd want in politics handling these large sums of money are most likely the types of people that don't get to where they need to go to. Because if they can see that Nelly is gonna pimp us, the hell is she doing? Getting to cabinets of what? Nelly, stay there, secretary, what?
They were like,
you're not sending her there.
We're like, I ain't down. Yeah, we know she's got a brilliant mind. She's got to stay in the office.
Yeah. Because when Nelly gets there in front of the people and it's time to send the deal, Nelly's not going to sign the deal. Now we're going to have a problem with Nelly.
So then that's maybe why they keep their circles.
That's why the circles stay tight. Like, I remember there's a friend of mine that posted a picture of Jacob Zuma, Nelson Mandela, Cyril Ramaphosa, and Thabo Mbeki all in one picture.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, damn, I wonder if there's a picture of all four of the presidents all the presidents have been in the US from 94 until today. Do they have that picture of them all together in a room? Probably not. Because it's actually been different. It's actually been a bit of variety. But then again, they were career politicians. And if that's your job, and we're here sitting on a couch talking about change, but we're not going to jump in any of those parties to do change. Maybe if we get a lot of money.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
Nearly for president.
You only have to get upset one more time about something. Trust. I will be up in that office day by Pretoria. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Maybe it's me for president, guys. We don't know. Yeah. But we can only take so much.
We can only take so much.
Do you think there will be a change eventually, because we have these great ideas, but
Yeah.
again, like you say, we're here.
Mm.
The people that might receive these, they're also just on their couch doing something relaxed,
Yeah.
um what do we do with these ideas? How do we start making an actual difference, a real change? um there's a story that just recently came out about the youth in Nepal.
Okay.
They went and set all the politics buildings. I don't know what they're
Oh, the
called.
political.
Political
Yeah,
buildings. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, they set them alight. They're like, you know what? We've had it with y'all.
Yeah, same. I think it was
Time to light
Kenya's.
the cheese.
Yeah, it was Kenya as well. The youth was like marching something so
Yeah,
serious.
they were like, no, we're done with
They were
this.
like,
Like,
nah, 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 chief. This cutting
yeah,
it
we're
today.
done. We're done.
We're done. It's enough.
Yeah.
I think there is the conversation of revolution and all of those different type of things.
Yeah.
I think we'll see where it goes. I do believe they can and will be a change, but I think it's the amount of time that we have a problem with,
True.
and that's because people are hungry today. People need
Yeah.
things today, and we can't say, "Listen, Mama, I know you need a bathroom that flushes, but in 40 years' time, everybody
Trust.
will have one."
But you know what? I think we can do it. Look, we did Fees Must Fall. I was there. I was
Did they
amongst.
fall though?
I mean, at the
Did they
time,
fall
at the
though?
time, it felt like, I feel like it was one of our most, we're doing something.
Yeah.
Looking at previous generations, they were doing some things. They did some real things proper. Look at us now. We can sit on the couch and have these conversations.
Yeah, no, I do think the previous generations definitely did do some serious things proper, right?
Yeah.
And there's another thing that I learned. Funny enough, this is from Fast and Furious. I think Fast and Furious 5, and it was an idea. I think they were talking to some really rich Brazilian guy that they ended up stealing the money from, and he said something along the lines of, when the Portuguese came, do you know what they did? They didn't give the people nothing.
Yeah.
They gave them water, they gave them food, and do you know why you do that? So that if ever they rebel against you, they know they'll lose their water, they'll lose their food. Because if you give them nothing, they have nothing to lose when they fight against you. But if you give them enough, there's a lot to lose. So upsetting the status quo has a lot to lose. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
So, Nelly, you have a job. If they asked you to do Fees Must Fall in your school today, you would be quite hesitant. Because, boss, I need to eat.
You know
It's a
what?
lot.
Without incriminating myself too much, I've got a
Strict
fighter's,
ethical code
no, but I've
still.
also got a fighter's spirit, and at workplaces,
Only
but
within reason.
they are, you don't know my reasons though. So,
Good reasons. Always excellent reasons.
but anyway, so you see, I have the spirit. Okay, as
Mhm.
much as I'm just a girl, then Babata in me sometimes, is
Shows
like,
up.
let's shake things up a bit. And it's okay to have these feelings and feel like you want to make change, but also, like you say, people don't want to upset the status quo. So there are people who are willing to get these things started, but they just feel like they don't have enough people backing them.
Yeah.
And when there's one of you going against
The
the
wave.
powers that be, then that's a little bit scary.
It is. It is.
No matter how much determination you have, but if then it's majority of us, thinking like one brain, moving as one wave, then I feel like,
You could
I
do
feel like the
something.
youth of Nepal, they're onto something. Some point.
No. Awesome.
Yeah.
Zero. I won't lie. One thing that does kind of like, I'm always like in a split about it. It's getting upset about. It's like awesome is a
Yeah.
tricky one when you don't have money as a country.
Yes.
Because it's like you burn the school.
Yeah,
Now
but
we need to
then we
build a
still need
new
to build a new
school.
one. Yeah.
I don't have the answers. I'm not saying how people should or should not process.
Maybe
I'm
not
just,
awesome. I mean, there are other ways.
there are other ways, but then there's always that conversation of like a peaceful process can then be ignored. but your violent one isn't.
True.
And I don't know the perfect way to protest or strike. We just know we strike for freedom. It's in our national anthem.
Period. I mean,
Beyond,
they did some things with that national
no,
anthem.
they
Like,
cooked it. No, they cooked.
I know they could.
They
They could.
cooked.
And
The
you even
one
hear when it gets to that part where
We know.
level.
free,
There's a,
freedom.
depending on which event you're at, 80 blow could have a volume increase. Now that is not to say anything,
Yeah.
but just take notes what 80 blow sounds like versus the other types. Just saying. I'm just putting it into the air and letting it land wherever it lands.
I know this. I know.
But it is also a banging part. It is kind of hot. I know very little of what it means,
Yeah.
but same with the Sotho parts as well. But we sing it all the same,
But
boss.
you know what? My thing is, I've worked in different schools, né? And in some schools, you can see the teacher's effort in making that part known, and some efforts don't get equal
Equally
treatment.
distribution.
Like
Yeah.
each section deserves the same amount of love, guys. Learn your ama pronunciation. I feel like that's the first part. And I don't know, in schools, like, we used to study these things. Well, not study, but like, I don't know, they were teaching us, like, this is what it means, this is what it means.
Oh yeah. Like you did a translation of the national
Yeah.
anthem, which is actually
So I
quite
feel
a
like
funny
people,
thing,
the parts that they understand the most, that's
That's
where
when
they have the
speak,
most conviction. Where they're like,
Yeah. No, you don't feel too confident talking about something you like. You're
Yeah,
just
true.
mouthing. You're mimicking something.
yeah, because you hear it's like the confidence isn't great, and they're like, okay, now the part that I know, yeah, yes, I manage. It's like the whole time you're gearing up, like,
yeah.
I'm getting there, I'm getting there.
Now that's
Yeah.
when you stand on business.
Yeah.
But from my side, I think that all of the challenges that we've had as a country and all the challenges that we still to have are definitely they're possible. They're possible. They are conquerable, but they
True.
need the right formula of people working together, society working together, ideas working together, and it's putting that whole puzzle together that really is our challenge.
And just a little time, like you said.
Time, yeah.
We are a young democracy, and you know what? Maybe this is how it started with the end of the biggest one, when they did the biggest one with us. You know,
Yeah.
maybe this is how it started. Started with ideas, and the ideas became living things, and then they materialized, and here we are today.
You know,
On thoughts that were born free.
sharing new ideas and new thoughts that could maybe materialize into different things, and then subscribe. But
Like, comment,
and share. Come on now, people.
period.
But we'll always have thoughts, and fortunately, because of time travel not being invented yet, we'll still be born freeze.
Yeah.
You know, and I think these thoughts and these conversations are needed because we don't know who we reach there. If there's 4 people that watch this video, and of the 4 people that watch this video, 3 of them are like, you know what? I know the person I can talk to do this farming idea in my community.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what we can do around it, and then it becomes something. And then later copyright it because guys, you heard it here first. I need a check too, and I'm also starving, and I'm also trying to be greedy like a politician or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Nothing is for free.
Yeah.
But that's like a saying I heard a lot. Like, nothing is for free.
No,
nothing
really,
is for free.
And if it feels like
Free?
it's free, then you're paying.
You're
in
paying
other
later.
ways.
You're paying
Yeah,
later. Nothing is
yeah.
for free. And I'm like, no, but isn't breathing for free?
You see, right now, we're breathing,
and it's costing.
And it's costing us. You know, since it's really like saying it's costing money. Yeah.
But let's get somebody to do the farming idea, and let it cost a little bit less.
Yeah.
And get somebody to do an idea around. African guy in the village was able to turn this into electricity, and it's like, okay, so when are we getting it?
Okay, but you know, it's a topic. So guys, don't worry. If you created a car that runs on water, worry not. You're safe with us. Yes, expose. What will disappear tomorrow?
Oh, don't talk about that. Don't talk about that. That one's scary. That one's scary. Yeah. Guys, please the ideas, we need to try them. I don't know where or when we put these things together, but the comments of the Thoughts of the Born Free podcast are the thoughts. Keep them alive. We'll interact with them as we can and as we do. Nelly, great host. Me, great host. You guys, great viewership. Let's make it more. Let's make it better. And let's keep the thoughts alive. And we're out.